Welcome to I Got Ish to Say, the podcast where we're having controversial, challenging conversation. Today's conversation is going to be a little bit on the edge, but we're not going to fall over the hill. We're going to land safely and we're going to have a better understanding of life, love, and relationships. It's going to be an introspective conversation about interracial dating. I have a very special guest with me today. Y'all seen me rock his gear before. This is the man himself, Mr. Bad JuJu Golf, Michael Arnold. Thank you for being with us today.
Hey, no problem. It's glad I'm glad to be here.
But tell us a little bit about you. I mentioned the brand. I see you branded. You got the Bad Juju.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Well, um, just started as a football player. I'm from LA, first of all,
Okay.
South Central LA. Born and raised, and to get out of that situation, you play sports, you get yourself an education. Did that, played football for a while, and collegiately, and then professionally for a couple years.
Okay.
Um, and then, after sports, graduated, got my master's degree and everything like that. But after football, there's life after football.
Right.
Figure out where you want to do, what you want to be in. We don't have things that are handed to us.
Right.
So for me, it's like, okay, now I got to start again. I got to grind from the bottom to get up to the top.
Right.
Started an insurance agency, worked with American Family Insurance, got my chance there, did that for 15 years. And then within that realm, I learned how to play golf.
Okay.
Something competitive to do as we all get older. There's things that we can't do, our body won't let us do.
Right. Right.
So it's something that you can always compete. You can compete against yourself, you can compete against the course, and you can have a good time, good fellowship, you make good friends. I always say that golf is one of the only things you can do anywhere in the world. Meet new people, no matter what color, and everybody gets along.
Right.
Do your thing, and sometimes you may make friends that you may have for the next 5, 10, 20 years or lifelong. Y'all do trips and everything like that. But did that, engaged in that game, and then brought myself to Jacksonville here, by way of American Family and Main Street America. So, and now I'm the regional sales director for an insurance carrier, and that's what I do in my daytime. But I like golfing so much, and I wanted to keep my swag tight. There's so many things that you can put on for the game of golf. Some
Right.
things don't match what your personality is.
Right.
Some things are too, bland for me. And for me, it was something that I wanted to wear and represent my brand, not only on the golf course, but at a game or anything like that. So it's really athleisure gear and something that you can kind of be bold with.
That's what's up, man. I first got introduced to the brand through a mutual friend of ours, and I like the swag.
Mm,
I celebrated with you guys at the grand opening. But what was it outside of the love of the game? What was it that made you want to create your own brand? Now we're thinking about golf, a predominantly white dominated field when it
right.
comes to merch or when it comes to the sport itself. But what was it about you to say I want this challenge to get into that market and compete against some of the bigger brands?
Right. Well, for me, it was just that what you said. There's stuff that's made for people that don't have my style.
Right.
It's people that don't have my drive, and I wanted to get my stuff out there. And there's a lot of people that even don't golf that are brought to the game of golf by way of, hey, that's a nice hat. Well, what is that? Let me go try that. Hey, take me golfing.
Right.
That type of stuff where it's a cool thing to be in. It's not something that's just uptight. It's not for just, you know, old white dude, you
Right.
know,
Right.
65 out there just playing golf after he leaves the office or something like that. So for me, bringing my own thing, and I got a small head, so I know they call you peanut,
Yeah.
but I got a small head.
Right.
And for me, it was just like I couldn't find a hat to fit. I couldn't
Mm.
find something that was water resistant. Couldn't find something that I can wear outside of golf and just kind of be proud of. So for me, it was like, I'm gonna make up my own thing, and I'm just gonna wear my thing, and then we gonna bring it to the people.
That's what's good. So every time I wear your stuff in a hashtag, it's always well culture beat the course,
Right.
and so that's what I talk about. And it's a good segue for us to get into our conversation of interracial dating.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the culture within itself, we have been stigmatized as black men that once we reach a level of success, black women are no longer good for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we date outside of our race. Um, I want you to speak to that because you came from South Central LA. You matriculated through college. You played professional football, but now you're married to not somebody who came from the same background that you've come from. So how was that cultural difference for you? Was it, what was that about for you?
Well, I was married, not married anymore. But
Right.
but yeah, no, I mean, for me, I probably dated more black people, black girls than anything, women. But me living in such a diverse area, growing up, there's every nationality and everything. For me, it's not much more of what you look like and where you come from, but what you bring to the table for me as a partner, or what I bring to the table for you as a partner, and how we can intellectually bring ourselves together and have that vibe. And if I don't got that vibe, I don't care what color you are, it ain't happening. Plus, at the end of the day, we all are attracted to certain assets that that we favor. So that definitely has to have a play in my particular choices and what I pick. But yeah, I mean, I was married to a Caucasian lady, and we had two kids, and we were married for about I think 13 years. So I mean, we did have a good time. It was a great relationship, and like things in. But at the end of the day, I think everybody's better for it moving forward. But I would say that it wasn't a fact of who she was or what color she was or why I did that. I mean, I date a Greek girl now, a Cypriot girl now, and their culture is just like black culture, literally.
I have some friends, man, and it's kind of like funny.
Hmm.
I have some friends that they're successful guys, and they refuse to date a black woman. They'll
Hmm.
date a foreign woman, whether she's from Israel or whether she's from Latin America, or whether she's from wherever. But they just won't date an American black woman. And then we talk about things that these women bring to the table, and a lot of black women say, "Well, have you sought out a black woman that has those attributes as well,
Qualifications,
or
yeah.
have you just overlooked that black woman because in certain rooms she don't look good, or the stereotype, she's loud, she's not going to listen to you." How would you say, how would you speak to that?
Well, I would say it's not just black women that are loud. I mean, every nationality has loud people, but I would say yeah, there is a stigmatism of that. There is a stigmatism that hey, there are people that I played with in the league, people I played with in college that yeah, I've married to white women after they've made it, but they have dated other things, and sometimes it's an environment in which you're in. I mean, I lived in Fargo, North Dakota. It's
Right.
not really too many sisters out there. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
For us, to even choose from. But not saying that was a factor in why I chose what I chose. But yeah, there is definitely a stigmatism. I mean, you heard Dr. Samuel talk about some of the stuff like that, and it is what it is. For me, watching it and seeing it in real life from a lot of people that I know that have dated outside of their race or married outside of their race, it's a different stigma to where I don't care what the people on the outside are doing. I'm just gonna do what I do for myself and my family.
So this is another question too about how people view it.
Hmm.
A lot of people view it, they call it the OJ syndrome, wanting to be accepted into the country clubs where we were once, prohibited from coming in, but now I have the ticket
Right.
to come into this club, and now to be accepted by the club, and it get to the place where I'm dating outside my race. I don't even accept my race, but then as soon as something happens, soon as the person I'm with would turn into a Karen in my life, turns into a nightmare, I need my race to come and help me,
Help me
bail
bail
me
you
out.
out. Yeah.
So when we look at that syndrome, a lot of people say, "Oh, you got the OJ syndrome." And so what you're saying and what I'm hearing, it wasn't based on who she was. She could have been black, but if she'd have brought those same attributes, you would have dated her as well if she was
Correct.
black.
Correct.
I think for me, and I'm gonna bring my own bias into this conversation. I think for me as a little boy, and looking at the Rosewood Massacre, I wasn't born in 1923, but I saw a movie as a young boy, and I looked at the Rosewood Massacre. I looked at how a white woman liked a black man, and it was never about a black man, but they put it on a black man, and
Hmm.
because of what she said, a whole city was destroyed.
Right.
And as a result of that, I was like, wow, can people be so cruel because of the color of our skin? This was a little boy. And then you go through history, when you look at other cases like Ronnie Long, a man that was accused of raping a white woman. He never touched a woman, but because she said this, and my bias, and I will say the word my prejudice said, I never want to date outside of my race, because at any time I'm with this woman, woman, she can turn the switch on me, and it could cost me my life and or my freedom. Emmett Till just looked at
Emmett Till. Yep.
a white woman,
Right.
and it cost him his life. So for me, I never wanted to date outside my race.
Mm-hmm.
Although some people say I have.
Yeah.
She was Russian. She wasn't white. She was Russian. So I'm gonna slide that all the way in the home place. But when you look at the historical things that have happened, and even the Jim Crow, you brought that up, the Jim Crow era. Was it ever a time in your life? And now you're saying you was in an area that it was very few sisters there. Was you ever afraid for your life in dating outside your race?
And I would say no, not necessarily, because I never even really dated a Caucasian person until I went to the Midwest,
Okay.
first of all. But I would say, based on where I come from, it's a little bit different being in LA when we have such a diverse group of people. My dad's from Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
My mom's from Chesapeake, Virginia. They got married, and everybody back there and in the South, it's a different game. It's a different ball game than it was really on the West Coast, even on the East Coast. I would say, yeah, but there. I mean, when I was an insurance agent, I had somebody leave my agency because I was black.
Wow.
So, and that was in the 2000s. So I would say that never was I ever I never feared for my life. But yeah, there's certain situations where you're like, man, I don't want to be in a situation
Right.
like that. But that's just from having the knowledge that you have and knowing that you're a black man and being raised as a black man, and you don't get a second chance for different things. So,
When I think about the Ryan Clark and the RJ3 conversation or the misunderstanding the two have,
mhm.
Ryan Clark made a statement. He was like saying that RG3 can't go home and talk about the things that affect black people. He can't really. He's not married or dating someone that can understand the plight of black people. So therefore, there is no understanding. There's no, how can that person support him and what he's going through and being a black man? Because there's a sense of entitlement because of the skin color, right?
Correct.
So when a black man come home and talk to a white woman about some of the challenges she has, she can't relate to him. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you feel about that statement Ryan Clark made? Is it a cultural difference
No,
or
they're both right, and I understand where Ryan Clark's coming from, but I also understand where RG's coming from and trying to defend what he's trying to defend. He got to go home at night, right?
right?
But at the end of the day, if there's certain microaggressions and certain things that we go through as black men, you know, whether it's being in an elevator and you have somebody grip their purse or something like that, or anything. But there's also things that women go through, where other uh, nationality they are in, microaggressions towards them, and I don't understand that. But I can say, yeah, I understand. You can come and talk to me about that particular thing. If something's happened to you in the business world where you can't get a loan or something like this because you're not this or not that, but Jerry can. You know what I mean? I can say I can relate to you because I go through similar situations. But really, can I really relate to you because I'm not really a female going through that situation?
Right.
But I look at it as like, yeah, you do have those thoughts going in your head, like, man, you don't even know what I'm going through right now. I'm just gonna go back to do what I do with people that understand where I'm coming from. But you have to understand, not everybody's gonna see things the same way. But the support is what's there. Support, hey, you know what? I don't know what you're going through. I can't understand what exactly you're feeling, but if you need anything, I'm here.
Right.
That's the type of support that she can give. She can't be like, oh, I understand exactly what you're doing, because you don't.
Do that pose a problem in interracial relationships though? Because you may be in a situation and you both may be treated bad because you can be in a restaurant and they hate the fact that she's with the black man, and so
Mm-hmm.
you both are getting treated bad. So have that ever posed a problem? And if it have, how did you navigate through that problem being treated, both of y'all being treated racist because she's with the black man, not the fact that you with a white woman? They looking at she's with a black man.
Right. I mean, I've had that situation happen with where, you know, my kid's mom was somewhere with them and I was working and at a park, and all of a sudden somebody, don't play with him. He doesn't have a dad. Not knowing the situation, but because she had interracial kids, all of a sudden you think that, because it's a black man, he locked up or he's not around.
Right.
And you'll go into certain restaurants, like you said, in certain situations, people look at you because you're with a white woman, or somebody will look at you because you're with a black man. And it does happen both ways. And like I said, it's more, if if I lived in Mississippi or in the South or wherever, and I'm in a predominantly black neighborhood, predominantly like black business, and I go in there and I have a white person with me, they gonna look at me some type of way. Same
Right.
reason as if
Right.
I'm somewhere it's a predominantly white and I go in there and they gonna look at me like, what you bring him in here for?
Right.
So it happens both ways. It just happens more. I guess we put more onus on it on the black side
Right. Right.
because we experience it a little bit more because we're more in the limelight. And when somebody's in the limelight and you look at who they're with, oh well, he got a white girl. Oh, he got a white girl. Oh, okay, now he get money. Now he got a white girl. What's wrong with, X, Y, Z? So
And that's the presumption of it all. It's like black men have been accused once they reach a level of success that the badge of honor of that success is having a white woman.
mm-hmm.
And I've talked to a couple of people getting prepared for this interview, and I've had some say this. I've had some black men say, I date white women because simply I know I'm going to piss a white man off. So it's not even about the love for him. It's about remember what you did to my people.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to your people. I've had a situation, not personally, but like I said, interviewing people getting prepared for this, and I asked the question. I said, how many times you've had an escalated conversation, and she called you nigga? And he said, often.
Never. I ain't never had that happen. It'll be a wrap. So
And you one of the few people because
yeah.
I talked to a couple of guys who I wanted to be on to share this conversation with us. And every one of them said, yeah, it had happened. One said it happened all the time. One said maybe it happened once or twice, but it happened. And I said, what was your response? It was like, I had none. It was just like we're in an argument.
Right.
But I think that to me, that's like spitting in my face.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You say you love me on one hand, but you get in an argument in the next hand, and now I'm a nigga. You were reminding me, as the Jay-Z song, still a nigga, get in your place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so have these thoughts ever crossed your mind in dating outside of your race, how they view you? You're an intelligent young man, you have your own business, you are successful both in sports and now in the insurance industry, but have you ever said, how do these people really view me?
Well, no, at when you're trying to, I guess, build your brand, so in life, not just like this. I'm talking about in life because we
Right.
all represent ourselves as a brand.
Right.
You get certain people that look at you a certain type of way and have prejudge you. I used to have long hair when I got into insurance.
Right.
People look, oh, you don't know something. But then when you're spitting that game to them, then
Right.
you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, this dude's the best. He's this and that. So I would say in that aspect, yes, but it's a constant struggle where you're always trying to prove yourself. And I I would say the biggest thing from interracial dating as I've experienced was like, okay, now I got to go meet her parents. What's this dude gonna think?
Right.
He got his daughter, messing with this dude. He's an athlete. And you got to think about what's happened before that.
Right.
Now, what is this town and what is this city or what has happened before where a brother like me has done something wrong?
Right.
Yeah, white people do things wrong all the time. Sometimes it does not look in the same light, right? But it's like now that's what they remember. Click back to, okay, well, Rashawn did this to Katie. Is he gonna do that to my daughter?
Right.
Nah. But I mean, in all defense, like when I went to propose to my um, kid's mom, my ex, was their dad was cool. He was like, "You're the best man that's ever come to this door for any of my daughters."
Wow.
So at that, it kind of relieved that tension where it's like, oh, it's not going to be like this. It's not going to be somebody making up an excuse like, oh, I don't, I'm just want to care about the kids in the future. No, you think about yourself.
Right.
But when you're proud to say like, this is my, who my daughter is dating, this is who my son is dating, and it doesn't really matter who it is, that's when it's pretty genuine. So, but I know people that have hit that barrier and have talked to me and be like, man, how'd you do it? I'm like, well, that's not the position for you.
Right.
If they're not supportive of what you're trying to do and how you're treating their daughter, and that's the ultimate thing. How are you treating my daughter? Or how are you treating my son? Or what are you bringing to it? As long as y'all good, then I'm good. But once you cross that line, then we got problems.
And I don't think this is a white or black issue. We all, as parents, we have prejudice about who our kids bring home.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot easier if the white daughter bring home an ex-football player or an executive in an insurance company versus a blue-collar guy who's just trying to make it every day. So
Right.
it's sort of like there's benefits. I know she's going to be taken care of. I might not accept it, but the package she's bringing home is more acceptable, and I'm not going to resist this because she could have brought something worse home to me,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so, and that's what any father. But when you talk about interracial dating, and you're concerned about meeting her dad, but the introduction of who you was made it a lot easier for him as well. Do you agree?
Um, I would say probably that, but he wasn't even a sports guy, so he probably didn't even really care and look at me like that. But Obviously, yeah, I think that does definitely bode well when you're somebody who hasn't messed up. For me, it was, yeah, I'm in the paper, on the news and stuff for all the good things. Yeah, I'll go and read to the kids, and I'll do this, spend my time in the community, all good things. You couldn't find a negative thing that I have done, and I tried hard to build my brand.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, football only takes you so far.
Right.
So you have to be able to build your brand, think about the future and what you want to bring. And because I carried myself in that manner, it was easier for me to articulate and be in any room.
Right.
And I always say to myself, like, I could be in an elevator with anybody and be able to relate.
Right.
Can you? And that's where you gotta leave.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Have was there any cultural? I know there are some things that we as blacks we engage in culturally. Were there any cultural um, problems or any challenges culturally? Did you want pig feet and she wasn't gonna cook pig
First of
feet?
all, I don't touch no pig feet. I mean, my family's from the South, but I ain't doing that or chillings or nothing like that. But I would say, like, the biggest thing that kind of was like Thanksgiving, because, we're different,
Right. Right.
right? I have my family and Thanksgiving, everybody's all around. We say we're on prayer together. Everybody eat. You got people playing games, people playing spades,
Right.
people playing dominoes, people outside, people inside, people upstairs watching football. In her house, it was table talking politics for a little bit, people drinking wine. I'm like, where's the game? What's going on? Oh, we don't watch that. No, I can't just sit here and do it. Where's the sweet potato pie?
Right.
Like, what is
Right.
going on? What is this casserole? What we
Right.
going to my house next year, so we're
Right.
gonna figure it out. Then they integrated some of the things that we like to do.
Right.
So it's all about the give and take there. So, but not being educated on not having a dude there that's been through that, not knowing what sweet potato pie is, and you think everything is pumpkin pie.
Right. Right.
That's the problem. You
Right.
think macaroni and cheese is something different than what it really is to us.
Right.
So, but that's probably it. Cultural differences. That's the only thing that I really space. But for me, like I said, going back to anything, if it's white, black, or whatever, there's give and take. There's different things that I got to bring, and give up. There's different things you got to bring and give up to make it work. If we can't make it work, it don't matter what color you are. It ain't happening.
So basically, in your experience, what I'm hearing more through everything you said, it wasn't that you was looking for color; you was looking for love. You just happened to find love in that person.
Correct.
Okay, so I appreciate that, and that's what we're talking about. Because sometimes when we look at these interracial relationships, we are we looking for love or is just acceptance? I need to fit into a certain crowd because I'm trying to get a certain end goal. So if I plug in this way, it'll help me advance my career, this opportunity that I'm looking for. And then, like I said, interviewing one guy, he's like, "Hey, look, I'm dating white women because I'm finna show these people what they did
That's
to us, and
funny.
I'm just dogging them all out,
Yeah.
and that's just the
Yeah.
whole thing." But then there's the brother who said, "I've done the black woman thing. We just don't get along. I don't like her attitude. And maybe it's because they feel like uh, it's said that white women are more submissive to black men. Would you agree with that, or is it still the same challenge? A woman is a woman is a woman is a woman.
Man, I feel like you pissed the wrong woman off. It don't matter what she
What
is.
color?
Same thing.
Same thing.
It's just how you reciprocate that energy.
As your identity as a black man in any relationship, but we're just not going to talk about a white woman. Any interracial relationship that you're in, your identity as a black man, have it ever got lost in who you were dating? Because culturally, did it get lost or whatever the case may be?
No, 'cause I'm gonna be me no matter what, and that's you take it or leave it. And if you once you kind of lose who you are, then you're worthless to me. You just have to make sure to keep who you are in front of you and be genuine, because at the end of the day, you can only put on so many faces. And I just never want to be known as that person. Like I'm gonna be the same person you gonna get, whether we at the office and you gonna get it on the golf course. I'm gonna joke around with you. I'm gonna handle business, of
Right.
course. I'm not gonna mess up my bag.
Right.
I'm gonna handle business, but I'm still gonna joke around and be me. We're in golf course. I'm gonna bust your ass and still joke around and be me. But at the end of the day, or playing basketball or doing whatever, I never ever would ever change who I was for a woman, or change who I was to appease a certain nationality, or to make myself go up further. You have the what I call them. Everybody call them the Uncle Toms, right?
Right.
You
Right.
have
Right.
those guys that sit there and be like, "Oh well." I could be the only guy here. I know John from accounting, and I'm like, no,
Right.
it's not like that. It's there can be a lot of us, and the mutual friend that we both know would understand. I mean, will tell you different things in the corporate world that we had to go through. But there's times when you reach out to certain people because I always was taught, hey, no matter what, woman, man, black person in business, whatever, you always say how I always speak up, talk,
Right.
do that. But when you reach out to certain people, it's like, oh man, like no, I'm not. You acting funny, but you get around the white dudes. Now you want. Oh, now you find out that the white dudes like this dude is cool. Now you want to kind of be all good. You
Right.
know what I mean? And that's what some people do in relationships too, where they'll be like, oh, they'll be a certain way around a white woman and her friends, and then they get around their friends and they try to change it up. You can't keep putting on those masks because you forget about who you are.
Forget who. That's a great point. That's a great point. I want to bring up another stat to you, and it has to do with South Central LA area that you grew up in.
Yep.
You grew up in an area that a lot of famous people came out of,
Yeah.
right? The Williams sisters came out of that area as
Mm-hmm.
well, and a couple more. But this stat says 20% of the black males who grew up in South Central and became successful end up dating or marrying outside of their race, where only 10% of black women. Could you speak to that?
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. That's a crazy stat right there.
Yeah.
And I think too because I mean South. I mean you grow up, you're not in a great place, right? Not
Right.
saying it's. I mean it's where you are. Nobody wants to grow up saying I use food stamps and all this other stuff that
Right.
we had too. In the day, you want to be in a better situation. You want to get yourself to a better situation, financial. Treat yourself. Bring your kids up better than what you had. I don't necessarily think that. I mean, I would have to try to really break that down to see how many people still live in South Central,
Right.
and that goes because if you probably still live there and you're a product of where your environment and what you're around, but maybe if you've got out and you've done something, then there's a different people that you're around. But I also would say that LA is such a mixture. You have everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that probably does something to it. You're not sitting there if you were in, and I don't want to keep saying like Mississippi or Alabama or something like that, but if you were somewhere where it's so predominantly, populated with, a lot of African Americans, then you're probably going to regenerate what's around you. But LA, there's so many different things. So I think that attributes to that a little bit.
So I've heard black women say this, that the higher they've gotten in life or the corporate ladder, there's not very many black men, so that's why they end up dating outside of their race.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say the same is true for the black men? The higher you get up in the corporate ladder and you look around your peers and it's not too many people that look like you, so you end up gravitate to the people who look like you.
Um, I would say for sure there's definitely the higher you go up, there's not really a lot, and yeah, I would say probably on both ends it's probably like that. Because you're a product of your environment. And for instance, if you're a doctor or you're a surgeon and you happen to be a black surgeon and you're doing things, I mean, most doctors probably aren't black. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And then it's just like, who are you around all the time? Who are you working out around the office? Who understands what you go through? Unless you have you know, somebody at home that's been going with you through residency, that's been with you from jump,
Right.
that's been there, your backbone. That's when you kind of see that kind of thing. And if people are not dating because they're in certain careers or so career driven that they're single and they're driving to get where they got to get to, they're gonna fall between where they've gotten
Right.
because they don't want to start back over where they are.
Right. Right.
Same as you're not gonna find nobody that's made it to the league or somebody in the NBA that's gonna sit there and go to South Central and be like, well, who's on the block? Can I go ahead and
right.
pick up, right?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you're gonna be like, no, who did you see when you were out
Right.
at the
Right.
out somewhere at an event or something like that? Like it's all about that energy because at the end of the day, for me, it's the vibe. It's what you bring.
And that's what this conversation is about, dispelling all the prejudice about interracial dating. A lot of people think that it's one of those situations where I just gotta find me a white woman, or I gotta find me a woman that's non-black to be with, to show how successful I am, how powerful I am, how rich I am. But we're dispelling all that because the prejudice of it is it perpetuates what it's been put a place upon us as black people, right? We start stereotyping and then we begin to hate another person because of their color and not understanding that this brother or this sister didn't choose outside of the race because they just wanted to. They went hunting for somebody to piss everybody off. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I would call your name, but you do hunt for white women to piss white people off. You know who you are. But it's not like people out hunting, right? And
Right.
so I think I like the point that you brought. You know, it's your I'm in this environment. So if I'm in this environment, it's like if I'm finding somebody that I'm attracted to, they're attracted to me and the energy is there. What's the problem with me dating this person? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm just out per se, like I've left South Central. I've left the east side of Jacksonville, and this is the environment that I'm in. And if somebody have came through the trenches with me, it's one thing if you come through the trenches with me and I
Right.
reach this level of success and I'm like, you're no longer good for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain people that does that as well. Now,
Right.
we're gonna keep it real. There's
Yeah,
certain
for sure.
people that have been through the trenches and then, that wool hair is no longer good for them. They want it straight, you dig,
Right.
and
Right.
all over the place.
Yeah.
But most of it is just like this is the environment I'm in. I found some energy that matched mine, and it's just love.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at people, I'm quite sure your closest friends, have anybody ever challenged you in that area or asked you why you never, you dated them in high school, so now that you're here, why you never dated them now?
You know what's crazy? Yeah, you said I got a buddy, and I'm not gonna say his name, but it was crazy because when I was married, and he was like, man, you need to date you a black queen again. You need to date with this and that. And I'm like, man, I've dated more black women than things. Yeah, but why you not doing it now? And he was black queen this, black queen that, right?
Mhm.
He married a Hispanic girl and has kids with. But it's kind of one of those things where, you know, where he's from the same area I am, but what happened? You know what I mean? You was all this and that,
Right,
and then all of a sudden you do that, but now you came around and be like, look, it don't matter.
right,
You was right. It don't matter what
right,
anybody is, because
right.
if you find that person that you vibe with and you good, she's got your back 100%. You got her back 100%. Y'all ride or die. And that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, we all gonna be in the ground. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right,
that's it. Ain't nobody care about who was racist when they in the ground.
right. And we talked about something before we started taping that here in the United States is the only place that care about the color.
Right.
When you talked about when you fill out an application, they want to know about if you're black or white, and but you go into Europe, they're not asking that question. They just want to see if you qualify for the position. Do you believe that being in America and the things that we've gone through as black people had, and the things that white people, it's to this very day, whether you I'll leave that alone. That's another conversation. But and I might come back to that because I want to deal with that too. But because of the history of our country,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell everybody, I'm if people really listen to me, they think I'm racist. I'm not racist. Just don't be mad at me because I'm pro-black, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna always side with my people, and my biases about dating outside of my races has got to do with historical facts that at any given time you're gonna carry me
Mm-hmm.
at any given reason, because you're pissed off at me, and so that's just me. That's just how I feel. But when you look at or when you think about your life as a whole, coming from South Central, now you're here and everything you've accomplished, do you feel that you have let the culture down?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because I do enough educating and doing enough giving back and letting them know it's real. And like I said, I can care less what the person behind me says or something like, what the saying is, what you eat don't make me shit.
Right, right,
You know, as long as I'm handling my business, taking care of my kids, doing everything the best I can, honoring my father, and that's it. And keeping things right. That's all I really care about. But yeah, I'm always gonna give, and I'm gonna give the true facts to everybody, even my kids. I got mixed kids. You know, they both dated black girls. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, they go to school in Jacksonville,
right,
predominantly on the west side,
right,
right?
right,
So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But they can come home whenever they want to come home to. But I'm always gonna be real with them, and we're gonna keep it 100 no matter what.
right.
So, but I don't feel like I've left the culture down because I give so much back and so much gain to the culture. you know what I mean, to the people. So you do whatever you want to do with it. You know what I mean? That's your choice.
Is that because of where you come from in the culture, or is it feel like I want to let the culture know I'm still fitting in with the culture, regardless of who they see on my arm?
Right. I mean, I feel like I can go anywhere and do anything at that particular time. I mean, it doesn't matter. I've never been in a situation where I've had somebody be like, "Oh, because you come from and this and that, and now you're this." I don't. No, I feel like I can do whatever. I feel like it's way more accepted on both ends now to a lot of people
It
than
is.
it
It
than it
is.
than it
It is.
was
It is.
before. Even when I first
It is.
started, you know, coming up. I'm 45, right? So I think it's way more accepted now than it was prior to. But at the end of the day, if things were still how they were, there was no way nobody would be dating outside their race. It's
Yeah.
both ways.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think the problem is it's celebrated in the black community when you deal with black males. If you come to a cookout and you got a baddie they don't that's outside of our race, you celebrate. Oh, you the man, you done brought a baddie home. Now if you bring a booger wolf there, they're like,
Yeah. And no matter what it is.
this nigga's a crazy. Yeah,
Right.
that's just what they're gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
nigga,
What are you doing?
yeah, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And so it's like it's more celebrated now as a badge of honor than anything else, right?
Yeah.
In our culture, long as she's a baddie. Now, if she's a
Long
booger
as she,
wolf,
yeah, as long as she bad, you
yeah,
can do
that's the
whatever.
hypocrisy of it right there.
They gonna dap
They
you
gonna
up.
dap you up. They
Yeah,
gonna see if she got some friends. They
right.
how can you put me
Put me
down?
in. Yeah,
Yeah,
put me
but if
on.
she's a
Yeah,
booger wolf, she's actually, and that's what the black women have said to me that I interviewed about this. They pissed off at the fact that a black man would rather be with an ugly white woman than a beautiful black than a beautiful white woman.
facts.
So that's where they get frustrated. At least she can be pretty, you know.
But then again, you never know what's in that relationship. You never know if she had to hold that dude down for a while he was doing, you know, trying to grind, or you never know what their dynamics are.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, like everybody, like I said, everybody has things that they look for. I ain't gonna have no ugly thing on my arm, but at the end of the day, sometimes people just look for what they can, what the inner beauty is, and they don't really care what's on the outside as long as they go home, they lay their head down at night and be like, look, this is me. I ride or die for this person. They ride or die for me. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. I mean, think about it. There's so many divorces and different things people have. People taking money from people. You know, people you get with a baddie and then she only with you, then she level up and now she going to the next thing. And no matter
No matter what
race
color
they
that
are.
is,
So
that
it's like,
happens.
look, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go stick with this. She gonna be ride or die
Yeah.
with me forever, and I'm Gucci.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's
It's been said as well too that men of color who date outside their race, they tolerate more than if they would if they was with a black woman. It's like you got a short leash with me if you're black, but I'm finna, you know, you got so much grace over here.
hell no. I mean, hey, it is what it is. Like, you know, for me, it's like, look, burn me once, we cool, we can't get along, whatever. We can't make it work.
Right.
We gonna try to make it work. Anybody.
Right.
But if we can't make it work, it's no reason to keep doing it. You know what I mean, or whatever. It's a wrap. There's so many. I don't even know the population of how many women there are to men in this world, but there's so many fish out in the sea on both ends
Yeah.
that
Well, I heard a report, maybe like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. It is roughly like, I believe, 55 women to every one man because of the incarceration of men, because men decide to, you know, same sex,
yeah.
and so now we women it down to like 55 women to every one man.
Man, that's what you got out
That's
there.
a
That's
crazy ratio.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that there's a lot for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so whatever you want, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make it happen.
Yeah. We took a quick break, but we're back now to continue this conversation about love and race. I learned something today in this conversation. It's not about seeking out a person or a particular color. It was just about love. It wasn't about proving somebody wrong or feeling like this is what success looked like to me. But the higher you get up and the circles that you're in, you gravitate to what you're around. You gravitate to who you see. So even my own biasness about that, I don't know. I gotta come back off that one because I'm in some circles too. Ain't that white folk around. I ain't have no desire for them at all. You dig? I'm just being real right now, but I understand better. I can say I can understand it better now because it's like it's something embedded in me. You said it too. When you think about the cultural thing, I was around during the civil rights, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was around when the axe handler stuff happened. I was around, going to pick up my grandmother from being a maid at white folk house who, talked down at her and
Mm-hmm.
talked dirty at her. So I was around. So all of my biases is it's like I've experienced this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it firsthand. So for me, it's not even about pissing the black woman off. It's about me feeling like I'm violating the code within myself. This is how
Right.
people they really feel about me. I'm in rooms and I share this with people. I'm in rooms with white people who don't like me, but they're gonna do business with me because it's beneficial for them,
Right.
right? And so I understand it. And I had to tell a white person before. I they Well, matter of fact, the question was asked to me, Alfonso, how do you and this certain person get along? And he racist. I said, because unlike you, he's not hiding it. I know what I'm dealing with him,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it was cool. We had a great business relationship because I knew he was racist. He felt like I was racist, but when it came to that business, we took care of that business. Whereas it's other people at that table don't like me the same as he don't because
Yeah.
they trying to figure out. And I said it to him, y'all trying to figure out. And I said it to him just like this: how this nigga at this table, how this nigga able to do what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm beneficial to you, so you're not gonna remove me from the table, right?
Right.
And so, but when we think about love, love and business is pretty much the two same thing because I'm in a relationship with somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what I did learn today, and for me, it sort of like leveled it out for me because of my experiences. You know how you get up in certain levels, whether you male or female. This is my environment. This is who I'm around, and it's easier for me to connect to somebody I'm around versus going outside of my element. It's hard for me to meet certain people that don't have the same core interests or values that I have. So if this person is in that element, that these are my values, these are the things I'm interested in, and the energy is there, regardless of what color or nationality you are, is there. It's a connection. So
Right.
I learned that today. So that's what these conversations about because we want to leave these conversations better people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to leave these conversations ignorant. So I believe I've learned something today and gained some. So I appreciate you for that.
No problem.
But when we do talk about other nationalities, and I have dated outside of the U.S. The U.S. is one of the hardest places to date, whether you date a black woman or a white woman. It's just the craziness of it. But when I dated outside of the U.S., it was I'm learning a new custom. I'm learning new things, and I'm bringing my customs and learning their custom. We sharing those customs, so it was a more of an experience than anything else. And you alluded to that as well. So tell me about the experiences you had now that you're dating someone from Greece. What is that like?
Well, she's from Cyprus, which is just an island outside
Okay,
Greece, right next
okay.
to Turkey. But yeah, I mean, it's different. I mean, it feels like just like the culture that we have, right? I mean, I went to her house for Christmas in New York and get in. I mean, just like the movie Big Fat Greek Wedding or whatever you want to call it. You get hugs, kisses, aunties, uncles. We're playing a dice game called Oh Shit. Everybody's different desserts. Ain't nobody look at you because you black. Ain't nobody look at you sideways. It's just like, hey, you brought him. Hey, how you doing?
Right,
All this other
right,
stuff,
right.
and it was a big family. Everybody just hung out for hours, laughing. It's just like we do. You know. Then we went to Airbnb, play spades with my mom and her husband. So, and it was like that, and that's what I probably really equate a lot of these relationships and stuff to. You play spade,
Right,
you play dominoes.
right.
What happens when you get a busted spades partner? They can't read. It's the worst.
Yeah,
But you get somebody that
yeah,
is throwing it down,
yeah.
and you're like, "Yep, we next," or we staying on the
We
table,
on the table. We ain't getting out,
right?
and we talking trash
And
because yeah,
that's how it is.
yeah.
That's how it is, and that's how I do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is it easier? And it's a twofold question. We talked about the history of the United States. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about the Jim Crow area. But when you look at black and white, which is we're in a different era now
Right.
because we talked about this off camera as well. That every time you turn on a sitcom now, you have two different types of relationships that have been introduced to society. One is interracial, and then two is same sex.
Right.
So it's not a TV show that comes on TV now that you don't see those two in that show. So it's more acceptable now because this is the new norm. Um, but when you look at the history of it, in which we alluded to that, is it easier to date someone per se from a different country than it is someone in this country?
You know what? I've never dated someone out of the country besides, the one I'm with now. But with Gina, it's different. It's I guess you would say, yeah, it is more culturally accepted because you're learning, and maybe you're putting more emphasis into it because you're trying to learn a new culture because it's not American, right?
Right.
You're trying new foods, you're trying to learn new languages.
Right.
You're putting in more effort as to be like, let's go to In and Out, let's go here. Nah, we gonna do this. We're gonna make some, you know, can't even tell you what all the stuff that we make now, but it's Mediterranean food is great. So it's just a whole different culture that I think that you try to learn. So you put more energy into it. So I would say yes, it's easier because it's the energy and the work that you're putting into it to make it better.
And you're not having those conversations about black and white. You're more talking about engaging with each other and
Right.
engaging with what's going on. So it's not about a black and white conversation.
Right.
Um,
There's Black Greeks too. So
yeah, yeah, I heard it. Heard. So that's an inside joke. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But what are the things that you would want to say to a society who are still, and I'm not gonna say to society, but to a group of African American women who hate to see African American man who's successful, who's handsome, who got his stuff together, dating outside of African American. What would you say to them?
what's your situation like? Like what did you do in your situation? You all grew up in certain areas. What did you do? How did you put yourself? How did you place yourself in a situation where you can be in the company of other people that look like you that aren't in your neighborhood? You know, how did you position yourself? What did you do to better yourself? And if you did everything you did, cool. Maybe our paths didn't cross. Everything happens for a reason. So there's somebody for everybody. I just really don't really see it as like, oh, I'm just doing this because this, or you're mad at me because I'm dating her instead of dating you. I don't know you. I didn't know you. If we had a cross paths, yeah, maybe we would have made it happen. But I didn't. So until you put yourself in an environment that other people are in and, and being outside yourself, then cool. I wish I would have went to HBCU and get a chance to. I mean, that life is dope.
Right.
Maybe if I'd have done that, then you're around your environment, so you're around more black people. So
Right.
then now, okay, yeah, cool. You're both successful. Oh, you're two daughters. You went to Clark. You know, what I mean, all this stuff like that. Um, Maybe that's the situation, but I wasn't in that environment. So
Have you ever been called a sellout?
no, not me. But I've seen some, and I didn't call people some.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Definitely calls people some Uncle
Oh,
Tom or Steven. We call him Stevens from Django.
okay. Okay.
So yeah, definitely. But nah, because I said I've dated everything, and I do give back my time, and I do give back my time, my people, and time, effort, money, all that stuff. So yeah, no, I've never been that because I'm always there.
I think for me, this conversation so important, but it was so profound at the same time because there was so much that you shared. You was brave enough. Out of all the people who I've talked to, you was brave enough to come and have this conversation with me, and I'm glad it was just you because it was very, very insightful for me. I'm the first one to say it was very, very insightful because we do have these stereotypes about brothers who date outside their race.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I said, even the brothers, we're hypocritical about it because on one hand, if she's a baddie, we dapping you up and trying to find out who her sister and cousin is and all this. Where a homegirl's at. But on the other hand, it's like this thing is a sellout. You know, he
Mm-hmm.
OJ number two. He'll be back when she
Something
carrying
happened.
him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like the thing that was so profound about it. Hey, look, this is where I'm at. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not trying to do, but this is the circle that I'm in, and this is where love found me. And that's the thing that's more important than any race or any color, any culture. Where did love find you, and who was love? Who was it? The person that presented the love that you needed at the moment.
I mean, you're familiar with Jacksonville, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I found my girl on 103rd on the west side. I mean, plenty of black people over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just kind of what it is. That's what it is. I mean, it's gonna find you. Yeah.
And it's not about the color that it come in. It's about being at a place where you can receive it, appreciate it, and give it back to the person that gives it.
Right. You ain't getting it back. It ain't happening.
It ain't happening. And so many times, even in same race relationships, you're struggling to be together.
Mm-hmm.
You're fighting and you're arguing. And you say that's what love is. And I think a lot of times it is in our culture, we believe that it has to be dysfunctional for it to be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then now when you see a guy who's with someone outside his race and it's working, you try to figure out what's wrong with him when it's like maybe it's something wrong with me.
Right.
Because he's successful in this relationship. Why am I not successful in the same race relationship? Right. So for me, it was just more of an eye opener to see it's not about I need this badge of honor or this is the icing on the success cake that I need me a white woman. One of my mentors, he was it was kind of like funny. It just crossed my mind. I thought about him. He used to always say to me, he said, "Man, when I walk in the room, everybody say, here come this nigga with this old white woman, his white woman." And he was a very wealthy man. This man had several Rolls Royces and everything, but he said that's how people saw him. Here's this nigga coming here with his white woman. He think he better than us, and it wasn't that. He just found a woman, and he said the reason why he married his wife, because she did something no woman ever did for him. Pray for him out loud every day.
Mm.
Told God to protect him. Told God to bless him. And he's like, man, I dated several black women before I met her. This is the first woman I actually prayed for me.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't an attractive woman,
Right.
but she prayed for, and that meant more to him than
So
anything.
then
in the world.
nobody knew that, right?
Yeah.
But then they're all preceded notions because of he coming in, how he coming in, not knowing that situation,
Right.
not knowing how that was reciprocated.
Right.
And that's just what it's about to me too.
Yeah. So man, I really do appreciate you coming on. I got ish to say. This has been a very profound conversation with me. I learned something today. My biasness have switched and changed. I'm not looking for a white woman though, but it have changed. And man, I am honored to be part of the Bad Juju family. I wear it in pride. I'm just looking for some more gear so I can wear it more often.
Well, we do got some more gear coming. We badjujugolf.com obviously is the website, but we just secured a booth for the PGA show in January, so we'll be there. And you know, like everything, I just wanted to really take the time and effort and didn't want to put anything out there just to put it out there. It's like, am I wearing the shirt? How does it feel? You know, how can I stress it enough? Can I wash it a whole bunch of times? I don't want nobody wearing something with my name on it and it's trash or it's in Ross. No offense to Ross, because I used to get geared up at Ross, TJ Maxx, don't sleep. But I'm just saying, I don't want it to be like that where it's like, boom. You know, I want people to have pride when they wear it. And that's just something that I just really taking a lot of the stuff serious so it can last a longer time. But yeah, things will come in and we're going to take care of you, I promise.
We will put Bad Juju's contact information on the bottom of the screen. Shop with them, wear them, and when you wear it, post it on the site. This is where the culture meet the course. You're gonna be stylish. You're gonna feel good when you wear the Bad Juju gear. I do. You see it on my Instagram. But this has been a impactful conversation. We're talking about love now. It's not about race now. It's about love. Who do you love, and where do you get your love from? Forget about the color it come from. Forget about even this generation. You got to forget about the person. If you're in love, be proud, be happy, and live life. Life is too short to be miserable and live under other people's expectation of who and what you should love. So you heard it here today on I Got Ish to Say. And before I close the segment, I want to take this time to congratulate, to applaud, and to appreciate the team. It's not my team. We are a team. We have come together and we make this work. Grayson Media. He is the one behind the camera making this look as professional, as good, making me even look better than I do in real life. And that's really hard to do. But I really want to thank Grayson Media. HC Global, who is the engine behind all of this. work tirelessly, listen to things that I want and bring it into manifestation. So today I want to close this out thanking the team who make I Got Ish say what it is. We're only 2 months old and we're doing things that people think we've been doing this for years. So to the I Got Ish family, to the team, I appreciate you. I love you. And until next episode, keep talking that ish.